The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, 90 days of boxing, day number 83. It is the beginning of the last week of 90 days of boxing. So if you guys have been enjoying this series, it'll soon be coming to an end. And don't get sad because there are some big things on the horizon for the channel. There are some massive things happening. I feel like I've definitely leveled up a lot in this process, and we're gonna finish it strong. I got some really interesting lives planned to conclude our 90 days of boxing series. So make sure you guys continue to tune in. But as you guys can see, I'm back home. Where the grass is green and the girls are the prettiest. The beautiful, sacred land known as South Florida, and I'm back home on set. So now that I'm home and I'm not running around and living out my backpack, expect more content. We'll be home. I'll be home for about like 3 weeks before I have to go back out west. So I'm looking to make it a very productive, very fruitful 3 weeks here on True School Sports. But listen, got some things to talk about. I'll be here for an hour today, so I'll give you guys the solid hour as usual, and then we'll end the live. But make sure you guys smash that like button if you're tuning in now. If you're watching the playback, smash that like button so that the YouTube algorithms know that you're rocking with your boy True School Sports and the untouchable True School Sports Empire. You feel me? But listen, man, I wanted to discuss some of the things that I just dropped a video on it, so you can go watch that if you want to. But I want to kind of repeat some of the same things I said in my video about Angelo Leo and Venado Lopez here, and then we'll kind of go everywhere in boxing because there is some things to talk about. We got like it's Jared Anderson fight week. We got people in boxing dying on us. Gary Shaw, rest in peace. Boxing life, where he passed away. So we got things to touch on here on True School Sports today. But we'll start off with Angelo Leo, right? Because I want to put the exclamation point. I want to put the bow on top of my coverage for that fight here. Baez, man. So Angelo Leo beats Eduardo Baez. He runs his record up to, what is it? I think 23-1, or is it 23-1 or 24-1? I think it was 23-1. But I don't quote. I know he's like 23-1 or 24-1. I should know this off the top of my head, but I know it's a very good record. So that being said, he's 24-1 now. So let me not shortchange my guy Angelo Leo. He beats Eduardo Baez in a performance. It's funny, right? Because when you look at Baez's box rec, Baez has given everyone a tough fight. Like everyone. I mean, even Vaquero. 2 of the 3 judges had Baez up in the cards before Vaquero Navarrete stopped him in the 6th round. So you look at the Navarrete fight. You look at his win against Enrique Vivas, a close fight. His loss against Rai Salim, close fight. Jonathan Lopez, close fight. Mauricio Lara, close fight. Like Arnold Kagai, close fight. Like he's used to being in close fights, but he never quite he never quite gets over the hump in most of the close fights. Angelo, I think there's a serious argument to be had. I know Navarrete had the more emphatic finish, so you can say Navarrete did better than him because he got a knockout, and what's better than a knockout? But his fight was not close, and I think it was a good win. But the crazy thing about it is I don't think that was his best performance. So when he's out here outclassing a guy who doesn't get outclassed ever, damn near never, and it's not your best performance, that shows me that I think that he could be an A-level fighter. I think Angelo is developing into an A-level fighter. And the big news after the fight was confirmed by Hector Ferco Hernandez, his promoter, or Venado Lopez's manager, that the Angelo Leo fight will be next. So we'll wait very patiently for the formal announcement from Top Rank. If hopefully, God willing, they finalize everything and they give boxing fans a great fight, because the featherweight division has been delivering in a major way this year. Angelo Leo, 3 fights in 5 months. Komatov Ford, classic fight. Venado Lopez, savage beatdown on Rhea Abbey. What else am I missing? I mean, back in December, Espinoza versus Wabasi. Just a lot of guys doing their thing, doing their part to make this division fun and great. So, yeah, man. That being said, he says, I never want to see Angelo Leo do the shoulder roll again. It was working. Listen, it was working. He had success walking him down. I was sitting right there by the ring. I was watching very intently to see if Vidal was gonna land them punches on him, doing in the shoulder roll Philly shell as Angelo was walking him down, and believe it or not, a lot of them punches weren't really landing like that. So um, it'll get even better. It'll get even tighter as he continues to work on it in the gym, and I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope they finalize the Bernardo Lopez fight because it's a good fight for it's a good fight for the division, and it's a fight that I think would be very entertaining. You know, both guys have their things about them that they do very well. Bernardo, you know, he's over here and here, you know, over here, and just does a lot of things that aren't technically by the book, but it works for him, and he's very athletic. So that's why he's beating a lot of these guys. He didn't have a big amateur background, so he's beating these guys off of straight athleticism and just, you know, doing this type of shit, just not even throwing the jab, just lead uppercut, left hook around the guard, stuff like that. So he's very unorthodox. He's hard at time, but you know, again, I think when he fights Angelo, the Angelo we saw last night, good, solid performance. Could still be better, you know. So I give him a B, and he gives himself a B. So that's what it is. But let's run through these comments. Good to see you guys here. Make sure you smash that like button. He says Angelo Leo's shoulder roll was giving me Ryan Garcia vibes. Now see, now you're being disrespectful, champ. How could you say that? It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I'll tell you this. He only broke it out for a couple rounds. If he would have did it for more rounds, I think he would have more success. He would have beat him up even more, honestly. Because I've seen him use it in the gym, and, you know, plenty of times, and beats the shit out of people in sparring. But he got the win. At the end of the day, this is a results-based business. It wasn't no close fight, which is more than we can say for Navarrete, Alim, Kagai, a lot of these guys. So, you know, look, good performance. Leo needs to use different types of jabs. I scored at 8 rounds too, and that's exactly what I had it. And Jesus wants to know, did Angelo abandon the jab? Yeah, I thought he abandoned it a little bit. You know, he was a little nervous going into the ring. I felt some nerves when we were in the changing room. I felt he's a little nervous than usual. I think with everything going on surrounding this fight, you know, he was a little nervous. But look, he won. I think he's got to use different types of jabs. I would agree on that, and he would agree on that as well. And just a good performance, you know. You know, sometimes you're gonna have some fights where it's not gonna be a knockout or sensational. You just gotta win, and he won against a very, very tough opponent, and it wasn't close. So yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say he could be better, but a good win. And it looks like Leo arm punches. He doesn't torque his body. I don't think so. I think he just needs to work on not smothering his shots so much. I think there were times where he would get smothered a little bit. But nah, trust me. When he throws them hooks, he torques the hooks. He torques the hooks and whatnot. I just think, look, when you don't throw your jabs as much as you should. I even told him this. I told him this when we got back to the locker room. I said, I don't know what it is about when you fight these Mexican fighters like Aaron Alameda. I was at that fight. Aaron Alameda, Eduardo Baez. He seems to abandon the jab a little bit when he fights the Mexicans. So his next fight's gonna be against Mexicans, and I think he's not winning that fight unless the jab and being a little more elusive and setting up that straight right hand is a bigger part of his game plan. So I'm looking forward to that fight. I think you can't fault the guy. I mean, look, 3 fights, 5 months. Name me a fighter. If you can name me one fighter in boxing at his level in the top 15 or former world champion that's doing it like that, please let me know, because I can't find one. But you know, happy to be home. Happy to be here with you guys. If y'all got any questions, get them down below. But there were a couple of things I wanted to touch on. Just a couple things. You know, obviously, the big news yesterday while I was in Plant City was Jaron Ennis signing a Matchroom Boxing. You know, he's an Eddie Hearn fighter now. So now, with him being an Eddie Hearn fighter, people want to know, like, what is Jaron Boots Ennis' ceiling? What is Jaron Boots Ennis' ceiling as far as, like, what fights could he get? And there's really good fights out there for him. There's fights against the likes of, you know, you got Conor Benn's a name. Let's camp out there. Let's camp out on Conor Benn for a second. And I'm going to do a more detailed live about this tomorrow when I have time to set up and really give you guys a real proper live. But let's talk about Conor Benn. Because Conor Benn is a guy that, let's be real, he just fought his last fight. And this is no disrespect, because I love this guy. I have a picture of him on my wall with my losing betting tickets. But he just fought Pete Dobson. Pete Dobson is a Jaron Ennis sparring partner. He's a solid, competent, professional fighter, but you wouldn't necessarily grade Pete Dobson as a world-class creme de la creme blue chip talent. Boots is a world-class, blue-chip, creme de la creme talent. Eddie Hearn knows that if he can't get that Eubank fight with Ben, then what else is there going to be for him from a matchup standpoint that would be as attractive as a Jaron Ennis fight for him? You know, you got like what he's not going to go back to the UK and fight, you know, domestic guys like that. I think Conor Ben, the pay grade he's at and the kind of money they've invested into him, they want something big. But now they got another investment, and they got an American investment, and it's now I would say it's the best American fighter Eddie Hearn has ever signed in his entire career, and that's Jaron Ennis. So that looks to be the matchup they're gonna make next. Whether they if they were to make it in New York or Philadelphia or somewhere in the Northeast, then I think Boots versus Ennis does good business. I really think it does. But regardless, whether he fights Boots or whether he fights Crawford or whether he fights Virgil Ortiz or moves up to 154 and fights Madrimov for the title, I think the comfortable thing, the sobering thing about this, about Jaron Ennis being a matchroom boxing fighter and being with Eddie Hearn, is that we know if nothing else happens, Jaron Ennis will be active. He will be active. He will fight frequently. He will fight often. We will see him on our TV screens. And guess what? That's welcome news, because the main gripe with Jaron Ennis has been that we don't see him enough. He's not on our TV screens enough. So I would expect Eddie Hearn to move full steam ahead and do everything in his power to make this kid the best, one of the best known fighters in boxing. And look, we'll talk more about it tomorrow. I'm going to talk more about Boots. That live tomorrow will just be about Boots, probably Boots and Inoue, because, you know, Neri's running his mouth about Inoue, so I want to touch on that as well. But we're just chilling right now. I want to see what you guys want to talk about and answer your guys' questions. MAW, shout out to you, Chevy says, BT, hello to BT in the chat. Smash the like button. Yes, there's 15 of you guys here, and y'all being stingy, man. Don't be stingy, man. We 83 days in. We're 1 week away. A week from today will be day number 90. So on day number 90, this series is done, and I'll probably move to more like, I won't be going live every day, but I got some things I want to implement into the channel. So you'll get some announcements probably next week at some point or the week after. But that's almost over, so definitely enjoy it while it's here. Is Leo jumping over everybody else to get the Venado bout? No, he's not jumping over everybody else, because before this fight happened with Baez, Angelo was the number 13th ranked IBF contender. Now, he won the fight, so I'll be led to believe he's going to jump somewhere in the top 10 of the IBF. He's already number 7. He was already number 7 in the WBA before this fight happened. So we're talking about, what, him potentially being top 5 of the WBA, top 10 in the IBF. He's the most, listen, name me a fighter. Somebody please. Name me a fighter in any weight class in boxing that has had 3 fights at the level of Angelillo, a guy who's been a former world champion, who's top 10, top 5, top 15 in the sanctioning body, who's fighting 3 times in 5 months against live competition. Name me a guy. You know what I'm saying? Brendan Smith wants to know, where can I get that hoodie? Oh, this is a Perry Ellis American hoodie. I got it at the Perry Ellis store near where I live. This is like a $250 jacket, but I got it for $20 at this outlet store near my house. So, you know, I got a good deal, man. People think I spend like crazy money on clothes like that. I don't. I get the deals. He should fight Earl, and he's talking about Boots. Listen, that's on Earl. That's on PBC. I don't think that'll happen, because we know how boxing works. We know that Earl's going to stay on the PBC side of things. We know that Earl's not even a 47-pounder no more. Earl's a 54-pounder. Earl's looking to fight Sebastian Fundura. Earl's looking to fight over there. So, I'm not really like, I think the Earl ship has sailed. I think, though, with him now being an Eddie Hearn fighter and Terrence Carr being a promotional free agent, Eddie Hearn is willing to pony up the money, which I think he will be. I think he will be willing to pony up the money. I think there is, it's still a massive long shot, like massive long shot, but there is a chance maybe we get Crawford versus Boots. We don't know. Shout out to Fast Car Eddie. Yeah, that's right, Fast Eddie. I want to see baby girl Alicia versus Shields in the Detroit Summer of Love. That would be a great fight for women's boxing. I mean, normally I would shit on fights like that, because that's the female, in my mind, that's like the female version of like what Crawford is trying to do with Canelo. Like, big weight classes. It's kind of a pointless fight. But in Claressa's case, Claressa has beaten everyone. Anybody worth a damn in and around her weight She beat them. She's what, 3-time undisputed, 2-time gold medalist. I mean, she's in as far as boxing goes. And I know women's boxing is different than men's boxing. The pool of talent ain't as deep as men's boxing. But Clarissa Shields is arguably the most accomplished fighter in boxing, just on paper as far as what she's achieved. Two gold medals, 3-time undisputed, countless world titles. Okay, so she's already proven everything she's needed to prove. She already did what she needed to do. So I will excuse this because her and Bumgarner, they got real problems, man. And I said it on one live. I'll say it again. Not only was I there in Vegas when they were arguing ringside at the Hitchens fight, but I was in the food court. It was like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Clarissa Shields is in the taco line trying to get Mexican food, and Alicia Bumgarner is just yapping away at her, and they were still arguing in the food court. So there's a lot of jealousy there. I think it'd be a good fight. Alicia Bumgarner has built a great name for herself in women's boxing. She's been champion, but Clarissa Shields is women's boxing. She's got women's boxing on her back. She's a great fighter. So that to me would be a great way to go out if she wanted to. I wouldn't be against it at all. Her and Bumgarner fighting at this point, but shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BC, Brennan Taylor, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. There's 24 of you here. I only got 8 likes. Come on, guys. Don't be stingy, man. It's free. It costs 2 seconds of your time. You smash that like button. The YouTube algorithm gets a notification that you guys fuck with our content, that you guys like True School Sports, that you guys are enjoying, everything we're putting on out here. So please go do that, and that'll be greatly appreciated. But we got David Esther. He says, I'm feeling kind of depressed because my license is expired and I need to file my taxes. But salute to BT, yes, sir. And I would say salute to you too. Tax time is a very stressful and strenuous time on many of us. So yeah, I hear you, man. Hopefully you get all that straightened out. But hope all is well regardless. Brendan Smith says, I want to see Brandon Figueroa versus the Monster. Now, funny enough, you mentioned that. Shout out to my guy, Sean Tittel, the Dundada of Box Media. Apart from me, I rate myself highly, and you should be confident in yourself. Apart from me, Sean Tittel is the best out there. And he can start his own channel. Go subscribe to Sean Tittel. Let's get my boy Sean to 2,000 subscribers. He's already at 1,800. Get him to 2,000. He just dropped the interview. I haven't watched it yet, but he just dropped the interview on Brandon Figueroa talking about fighting Inoue. And that's a great fight. As are many fights for Inoue at 126. So I would love to see Brandon Figueroa against any. But Brandon Figueroa is just one of those good, solid, steady, consistent fighters. You know what you're getting. You know he's going to be in good fights. I still want to see him fight Stephen Fulton, and I feel like PBC and Al Heyman and all parties involved, I feel like they missed a golden opportunity to make Brandon Figueroa versus the Fulton rematch on the Canelo card. That would have been the big stage, a great fight, great event for the featherweight, a great fight for the featherweight division, and I feel like they blew it because they were trying to make that fight around this time last year when I was around this time last year, if you guys remember. Around this time last year, I was bitching and mourning because I wanted Fulton to fight Inoue. And PBC was trying to make Fulton versus Figueroa too. We're here a year later, and they should have made it. They should have made it a year later on the Canelo undercard, and they blew it. So it's unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, Rico Ransom, shout out to you, champ. Okay, we got our first super chat of the live. It's been our first super chat in a while. And I think you guys get a little too used to seeing me, so you guys may need to miss me soon because I ain't getting no super chats like I used to. But I appreciate everything, man. MAW, shout out to you with the super chat. He says, BT, there's talk of a possible Bud versus Majmov WBA super welterweight fight happening. What are your thoughts on the possibility, and how do you see the fight panning out? Well, thank you for the question. That was a matchup that I believe I mentioned yesterday in my video about Boots signing with Matchroom. I was talking about Boots versus Madrimov, but as far as Crowder versus Madrimov is a fantastic fight. Madrimov is super athletic. He's got elite world-class footwork. I don't think he's as regimented and as he's not so bound by the Uzbek style as, let's say, like a Mirja Akhmadaliev or a Zalalov or even an Odabek Komotov. He's got a bit more athleticism, so it allows him to improvise more in the ring. That being said, I think it's a great test for Crawford. He can switch a little bit. So that would be a chance for Crawford to fight someone that can maybe offset some of what he likes to do. Also, Majimov is a guy that I think it doesn't get talked about enough, but he's a very athletic fighter. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence to me wasn't on the same level of Terrence Crawford in the athleticism department. And I don't think that quiet as kept. I mean, when you look at the Crawford, I'm a huge Terrence Crawford fan. I know it doesn't sound like it these days, but he's beat a lot of good fighters. But I would never classify a lot of guys on his resume as great, athletes. Because the only real athletic guys he fought for me in his career have been you could say maybe Gamboa when he was younger, Porter, and then I guess maybe a Felix Diaz potentially, but outside of maybe those three, Crawford's fought very good boxers, but not a lot of great athletes. To me, Majimov is a fantastic fighter, but he's equally a fantastic athlete, and that's the interesting part about that fight for me as a fan. And it's a chance for Crawford to become a 4-division champion and fight a legit fighter. I don't think Terrence Crawford's ever fought an Uzbek, so that's something new, So you could do it, in my opinion, you could do a lot worse than Majimov. I know Majimov isn't the sexy name. It's not Boots. It's not even Tim Tszyu. It's not Canelo. But it's definitely a fight that I think is very necessary. So that's how I answer that question. I think Crawford will beat Majimov. I think Crawford's experience at the championship level, and just the fact that I think he's got better balance would be the difference in that fight. But those are just my initial thoughts on the fight. Hopefully it happens. I would like to get Terrence Crawford fight news soon so I could be happy about something instead of sound like a depressed, angry, miserable boxing fan. But these days when I talk about Crawford, I do sound like that because it's man, can you make a move soon, please, today? By the way, and again, MAW, thank you for the super chat. And if y'all want to follow his example, go ahead and do that. By the way, who was it? I think it was Throat Puncher said that he had all these magazines on the wall. He was saying that he had all these magazines on the wall and then some. They're all great magazines, man. People always comment on the magazines, I guarantee you this, though. There are some magazines on here you didn't have because some of these are Japanese. I know you didn't have that one because that you can only get that in Japan. If you had that magazine right there, I'd be very impressed. JW says, BT, you're easily becoming one of the best boxing analysts, content creators in the sport. Much respect, bro. Yeah, and I appreciate people like you that make comments like that, man, because it's been a lot of practice and a lot of time and energy put into this, man. And there's been times where I've been reduced to literal tears just because of it's been a hard road. But it's crazy you say that, right? Because I feel like the content's resonating with a lot of people. And funny enough, I'm gonna tell you guys something very intriguing that happened to me today. So today, I flew from Tampa to Fort Lauderdale Airport, which is only a 50-minute flight. As I got on the plane, I got a phone call. I didn't pick it up because I wanted to relax. As I was landing, I got another phone call. I didn't pick it up because I wanted to relax. Now, I'm not going to say who it was from. All I'll say was it was a phone call from someone that's very associated to Top Rank. Okay? And I'll leave it at that. And they were calling because they wanted to know certain details about Angelo Leo, and they wanted to make the Venado Lopez fight. So not only is my content resonating with you guys, the boxing fans, but it seems to be resonating with a lot of the boxing executives and power players in the sport, because now I'm getting phone calls like I'm his manager, and I'm just his friend who has a channel. So interesting. Shout out to my guy Alex Fitzmaurice. Let me see, where is he? I saw a comment from Alex. Hold on, guys. Where was Alex's comment? Alex. So Alex said Fundura is going to have to vacate the WBO title though, regardless. Yeah, because he's on suspension. He's got to rest. And it makes sense because he had a hellacious fight with Tim Tszyu. That wasn't no regular fight, so he should take some time off. But congrats to him on becoming champion because nobody thought it would happen. There's nothing wrong with having high expectations for the best versus the best often, but it constantly frustrates and disappoints me often, sadly. I used to be that way, and to a degree, sometimes I do, but, I have a very tight grasp on the landscapes of the division. I have a tight grasp on, how politics work, so, unless things just drag on, I don't get pissed anymore. Because I understand why fights do happen. I understand why fights don't happen. I understand how long it takes for things to develop. So it is what it is. This sport's a hard sport to turn a profit over on. So that's the end goal is always money for the promoters. The end goal is always, how can we get maximum return on our investment? And oftentimes, that's much different than what is the best fight in the division to make. You know what I'm saying? Because many times, the best fighters don't sell the most tickets. You know what I'm saying? The best fighters don't sell the most tickets, and sometimes the fighters that sell the most tickets aren't the best fighters. So that's why it's a great thing when you have somebody that's actually both. And that's why I feel like, look at a guy like Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz is a guy that's going to sell a lot of tickets because he's one, whether we like it or not, he's one of the best fighters in his weight class because he's champion, and he sells a lot of tickets, and he's exciting, and he's Mexican, so he has that built-in fan base. But not every fighter gets that luxury, They don't. Rico Ramsey says, man, y'all just figuring out that BT is the realest on boxing YouTube? LOL, shout out to Pops too. Yeah, man, listen. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer to catch on to the real, but once they catch on for real. So, yes, sir, yes, sir. We got another super chat. Shout out to Throw Puncher. He says, let me smash the hard button for him. There we go. He says, I'm a lifelong boxing fan. You and I need to meet and talk boxing. I used to box now, but I train my sons and girls. You're the truth with it, bro. Keep going. Thank you, man. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of traveling this year, so I don't know where you're from. I'm going to Las Vegas again in like 3 weeks for the Boxing Fan Expo. I'm pretty sure that's where I'll be going next, and then I'll be there for some time. So I've been out west, I've been out east, and I'll be in the Far East this year. I might be in the Middle East, so who knows where the boxing journey takes us. But yes, I would encourage any and all boxing fans. Because it really is becoming one of my favorite things to do. Is I love when I'm out at these fights. I love when I go to these fights, and people who I don't even know, who just watch the channel, who appreciate the content. I love that when they come in here and they just when they come up to me and they just want to talk boxing and show love, man. I really appreciate it. And he said he's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Well, shout out to Pittsburgh. I've never been to Pittsburgh, but I know the old coach of Paul Spadafora, Tom Yankello, who I want to get on the channel, by the way. He's a smart boxing man. He knows his boxing. He's trained Paul Spadafora. Maybe one day I go to his gym and I visit him, because I really do have a deep and profound love for this sport. There is nothing else in my life as far as what I'm doing. Like, everybody likes to ask, BT, what else are you doing in your life? And I say, boxing is my life. There is no other part of my life. That's it. The only thing I do besides boxing is go to hockey games. That's about it. That's my therapy from boxing when I want to get a rest. But other than that, it's just boxing. So appreciate you, man. And God willing, one day we do meet up. And best of luck to your sons and best of luck to your daughters on training, because this is the hardest sport in the world to not just compete in, but just to get in shape. Just to even get in shape for boxing takes courage. So respect to your daughters and your sons. But shout out to everybody here. We got my man Johnny Boy 714. He says, BT, what's up, bro? Congrats on the win for Angelo Leo. He looked sharp. Yeah, he did look sharp. He looked sharp. It was a good performance. I thought he could have been better, and so did he. But it's okay, because he's saving the best for when it counts, for when the lights get the brightest and for when the stakes are the highest. So I'm looking forward to the Venado Lopez fight. I know he told me that he's going to have about maybe a week or so off from the gym, and then he's going right back into camp to prepare. So when he does start training camp, mark my words, guys, I'm going to spend a lot of time with him in training camp. So I'm looking forward to seeing Angelo Leo in a world title training camp and being part of that, and just yeah, man. It's been. I'll tell you this. I may have to do a video or a community post soon and make a list of like the 30 most influential fighters or 50 most important fighters in the True School Sports journey. Like the guys that have been most important here on this channel. He definitely be in the top 50, top 30, top 50, top 20. Because I've learned about like Angelo Leo. I've learned from him what it really means to be a world-class fighter. Like, he's ruined my perception of a lot of guys I used to think were good. Honestly, because that's how dedicated him and his dad are to boxing. He said, we will meet soon, bro. I'll make sure that you will be a treasure one day. I'll make sure of that. You will be Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but definitely we'll definitely meet one day. And we can talk boxing and all that stuff. What do you think about this weekend's fight? Who do you got winning? So you're talking about. I'm gonna think you're talking about either Jared Anderson and Mary or Zelfa Barrett versus Jordan Gill. If you're talking about Zelfa Barrett versus Jordan Gill, I'll say Jordan Gill. I like Jordan Gill. I think he's very strong at the weight. Zelfa Barrett's a good fighter, but he's a bit of a front runner, and he fades in the back half of fights. If you're talking about Jared Anderson versus Riyad Mary, I'll tell you this, man. Jared Anderson should win that fight because Riyad Mary is a cruiserweight, a good fighter, a good competitor, a guy that's not coming to lay down, but a guy that they picked for a reason. If Jared Anderson loses to Riyad Mary, oh my God, I'm gonna have a lot to say. Honestly. Shout out to David Esther with the $1 super chat, the $1.99 super chat. He says, now we got to watch Crowley get smashed, and that might be the next case. I know that was a fight that they were trying to make a boost when he was fighting on the PBC platform. I'm okay with that. As right now for me, I'm not gonna bitch and moan too much about Crawford or any of the big fights happening. You just look like we're in April now, so Eddie Hearn, you get me 2 Jaron Ennis fights this year. Give me 1 in Philadelphia. And just get Boots nice and active this year. And then if he can deliver a big fight for Boots in the next 4 or 5 months of next year, then that will be satisfactory for me. But yeah, for now, Crowley is it. Oh, okay. He says treasure means you'll be highly sought after because of your knowledge. Yeah, man. Thank you, man. And trust me, these days it's like. I try not to go. I'm not trying to be Hollywood or nobody, but man, it's just like my phone don't stop ringing, and I got all these messages on Instagram, and I try to talk to everybody, man. So believe it or not, guys, when I come on these lives, this is the best time to talk to me because I'm here. You got my undivided attention. It's my therapy because a lot of times there's so much going on in boxing with this and everything. It's like, how do you focus? How do you even maintain? How do you maintain joy sometimes? But I chose this path, and it's been a very rewarding path. It's been an arduous path, and I'm so blessed. I really do feel, guys, really and truthfully, like I'm the most blessed guy in the whole sport of boxing. Like, honestly. I thought Crowley, and shout out to Karma Serene. She says, I thought Crowley was going the WBC route. Maybe he is, but I do know that they were in negotiations to fight Boots for a long time, and I don't know. I could have swore. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't Crowley and Suleiman Sissoko just get into a purse bid? I want to go back and check that. Because I could have swore I saw something about Crowley and Sissoko. Yeah, man. Crowley and Sissoko just had a purse bid today. So I don't think Boots is gonna fight Crowley. I think Boots' first fight with Matthew might literally just be a big fight. It might be Conor Benn. And if not Conor Benn, maybe it's I know Karen Chukajan and Harry Scarf are supposed to fight, so maybe the winner of that can fight Boots. But man, yeah, Sissoko's fighting. So Karma, you're actually right. They just had a purse bid. Cody Crowley. I know Sissoko is like the number 1 or number 2 contender in the WBC because he's been one of Eddie Hearn's only fighters for a while in the welterweight picture. If Sissoko comes to that, look for Sissoko to be an opponent for Boots. That's what I would say. Even though that's not an attractive name, that's not a sexy name. He's a French guy, not the biggest name in the world, but he's an Eddie Hearn fighter and he's a welterweight. So guys like that are gonna fit the profile of Boots' opponent. So if he beats Crowley, there you go. You go hard, and that's the shit. Not many like you. I'm in boxing heaven. Thank you, man. And the crazy thing about it, Throat Puncher, is that I haven't even. I really feel like I've been a little lazy the last couple of like week 2 weeks. I think I could work a little harder. Honestly, I think I could have pumped out more content. So when I really get to like where I feel like I'm working hard, you'll see how crazy it gets on here. QC says, yo, what up, BT? Just showing love, bro. Always tuning in. I didn't watch that Pro Box card yesterday from Wednesday with Angelo. Who's fighting this weekend? Well, before I get to your question, you need to go watch that card. And not the card. Just go watch Angelo. It was a good fight. He beat Eduardo Baez, tough French contender who's given a lot of names in the division problems. Didn't give Angelo too many problems. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, he'll probably fight for the world title next. But as far as this weekend, we got Jared Anderson versus Riyad Mary. Okay. On the undercard, you got Abdullah Mason. You got a couple of the top-ranked prospects doing their thing. England, you got Jordan Gill versus Zelfa Barrett. So those are like the two cards I know about happening, the mainstream cards, big promoter cards. I'm sure there's other boxing sprinkled in between that, but those are the main cards this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. And then we know next weekend is the big one. Is Devin Haney versus Ryan. Everyone keeps asking me, BT, are you going to Devin Haney versus Ryan? I'm not doing that. So guess what, guys? Luckily for you, I'll be live here in the high-tech True School Sports headquarters, you know, for that fight. You know, why go to New York and, you know, it's better if I'm here. It's better if I'm here for that fight, you know, with you guys, the viewers. Give you guys a proper live with me and Pops. But Eddie gave Boots those same Boo Boo promises, and Boo Boo had more talent in his division on his own and didn't get shit. And shit. You ain't lying. I mean, I remember we thought you're not wrong, and I'm glad you brought it up because you got a long memory. I got a long memory. Eddie did give Andre all those promises, and we heard everything about him fighting Canelo and Jacobs and Golovkin, and guess what? Once Canelo signed that dotted line and he became an Eddie Hearn fighter, Eddie Hearn said, nah, you're not getting the fights. So it is what it is. I'm not interested in boxing for the next 2 weeks, to be honest. Well, David, I'll make sure I do my best to keep you interested because there's content I have to catch up on, and there's content that I want to get to. So it'll be a little slow. I mean, I know like Ryan versus Devin is looked at to be a one-sided fight, and it probably will be until Ryan Garcia inevitably loses by disqualification, because that's my prediction. I got Ryan by DQ, but or not Ryan, Devin. I got Devin by DQ. Ryan doing a bunch of dumb shit to get a DQ, but yeah. I mean, Canelo May that little stretch in May between we got Munguia, Canelo, Inoue, Neri, Fury versus Usyk. A lot of great stuff happening in May, but end of April, not quite the best month. But a couple good little fights, like you got Jericho Quinn, Peter McGrail 2, the rematch. He said baseball is your life too. Not this year. Not this year, champ. I gotta take a break. Marlins broke my heart this year in ways that it hasn't been broken before. So I'm withdrawing all emotional investment from baseball this year and just focusing on boxing, hockey, and living a good life, and maybe getting some new hobbies and getting a life outside of just what I'm doing here, you know? Marlins done freed up a lot of time for me this year. He says, I'm kind of looking forward to Munguia and Canelo. It's a good fight. You know, I just think the undercard is so underwhelming. You know, that's the word I'll use, is underwhelming. They're not bad fights. Like Michael Fox, Gabriel Maestre, good fight. You know, Figueroa versus Magdaleno, pointless fight to me. Mario Barrios, co-main event? I mean, why is Mario Barrios the co-main event? All respect to Barrios. I mean, he's doing his thing, but why is he the co-main event against? I mean, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I'm not buying a ticket, so I mean maybe I shouldn't complain. I'm not paying for a ticket, so let them do what they want to do with the undercard. I just think that PBC set such a high bar with that first card. It was so exciting from Carmel Moen all the way up to the card. It was just constant action, great fights, and I just don't think that this card with Munguia and Canelo is quite up to that quality. But you know, again, not every show is gonna be the same quality. But shit, Pro Box does a great job. That's why I like Pro Box, because Pro Box, damn near every card has at least 2 to 3 bangers just on the card. But not everybody's Pro Box. Not everybody's willing to put good fighters in great fights. September is even better, and I didn't have the Japanese book. You're right. Yeah, I got hella of Japanese magazines from, you know, a lot of the Japanese viewers have sent me stuff last year. Like I became friends with a lot of my Japanese viewers during the Inoue Fulton build-up. So every now and then, periodically, like every couple months, I get stuff sent to me from Japan. So that's why I have a lot of Japanese stuff. But And that's another thing. Going to Japan in a couple months, so that'll be fire. Second trip to Japan coming up soon. Loading up. Montana says, "What do I think about Dan Morrell moving up to 175? It's very necessary because we know that Edgar Berlanga is not going to touch Dan Morrell with the 20-foot pole. We know that's already been stated. That's already been established. That's already been highly discussed. But Diego Pacheco is not touching Dan Morrell with a 10-foot pole either. So all the big names, all the guys that you'd want to see him in there with, he's not getting them fights. 175 is a weight class where he won't cut as much weight. The Benavidez fight becomes a possibility again. And you still could fight the guys like Bivol, Beterbiev, and that next crop of guys, because in a couple of years, 175 will be a very good weight class. You'll have guys like Nigel Lopez and Paulo Okoso and Ben Whitaker, Atif Overton. I mean, it'll be a very, very fun weight class in a couple of years once the landscape changes and the market at 175 inevitably corrects itself. So for sure. He says, "I'm old and I got all the old school ones until 98. Okay, yeah, man. That's one thing I want to do is eventually start slowly building up my vintage boxing magazine collection up, because I do like reading the old boxing magazines, because you get the information as it was at that time, and sometimes you get things in those magazines that you can't get on the internet, and that's the beautiful thing about it, and it's right there at your fingertips, so you can touch it, you can feel it. I like touching and feeling the magazines. Not everything is meant to be digital, so I like the old boxing magazines. Pacheco he looked okay the other night, but he kind of struggled. Yeah, I thought he had I think it was one of the most pedestrian performances of his career, to be honest with you. And I like Diego Pacheco, and he's a friend of the channel, but I gotta be honest. I thought it was one of the most pedestrian performances he's had in his career. And for a guy that is praised very highly as a guy, as a guy who's looked at as a top grade upper echelon fighter, a talent for a young fighter, no disrespect to Sean McCallum, but Sean McCallum is a sparring partner. He's a guy that's been in some camps with good fighters that you're supposed to look sensational against if you're truly creme de la creme, top shelf, world class. And he didn't do that. He won, and it wasn't like he got a good decision or anything like that, but underwhelmed. So maybe it could be a blessing in disguise. Maybe that'll entice Keith Connolly and Edgar Berlanga's team to make the fight happen. Because when I talked to Keith Connolly, and if you guys watched that interview, I talked to Keith Connolly, and Keith Connolly did not sound interested at all about making that fight happen. Not in like a ducking sense. Like I don't think they're ducking Pacheco, but they're just trying to get the Canelo fight, and it is a possibility for Berlanga because he's Puerto Rican, he's a big star, he's highly ranked, and whatnot. But come on, man, if you can't get the Canelo fight, then Pacheco needs to be the fight happening next, because you're talking. Berlanga's talking a lot on social media about Diego. Diego don't talk at all, and he's even talking about Berlanga. So it's a fight that has to happen, and I don't think it's a fight that needs a lot of marination. That fight can happen this year. I'm campaigning for it. If Berlanga cannot make Canelo happen this year, then by no later than Thanksgiving, he needs to be fighting Diego Pacheco. Hands down. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Richard Torres still fights like an amateur, and I hate the way he fights. And look, we're going to see Richard Torres in a tough fight. He's taking on Brandon Moore. Brandon Moore is a good prospect. Like Richard Torres is a good prospect. So someone's always got to go. And I'm looking forward to that one, because there's been a lot of rumblings in the boxing world. Brandon Moore is from Florida. Not from my part of Florida, but he's like a couple hours away. And a lot of people rate Brandon Moore highly. So be Brandon Moore's chance to really put himself on the map by taking it over of a guy who just won a medal in the Olympics in Torres. A guy with a lot of push. Got a lot of hype behind him. He says, Puerto Rico, wepa! He says, I grew up with many Puerto Rican. I grew up with many Puerto Rican fam. They're very cool people. Thank you. I think so too. Benavidez or B. Morrell, he's reckless. Maybe, possibly. I mean, but Morrell's learning. He's getting better, and let's face it, man. I mean, I hate to be that guy because who am I to sit here and judge anybody? I just got drunk off my ass when I was in Arizona, so I won't condemn nobody for drinking and having a good time. But when you're a top class, creme de la creme, top shelf fighter like Dave Benavidez, you can't be drinking in it. I know it could have just been one night in Las Vegas where he got drunk, but personally, my opinion, and I'm not trying to talk shit. It's no hate, but personally, knowing that Benavidez is doing camp here in Miami, and knowing that Benavidez is where his gym is located, I do question like maybe he has fallen into some of the temptation that South Florida does have to offer a young, rich, successful man like Dave Benavidez. It's not. Listen, if you don't have if you don't have world class discipline, South Florida ain't the place for you to be. Because if you're a young, rich, successful man, you can get into all kinds of trouble. Honestly, hell, you don't even gotta be rich. You can just be young and successful, like my boy BT, like BT, and boom, you can get into all kinds of trouble just like that. He said, "Nah, it ain't one night with B. He gets lit. With Benavidez, he might be getting lit, man. He might. I don't know. I don't know his personal life. Okay, and it's not for me to know. But I was there at the fights, and he was all the way gone. So because I don't know the rest of his life, I'll say maybe it could have just been one night. But I feel with him, with me seeing that and knowing that he's training in South Florida, it's not really. It does concern me that he did show up to the fight, how he showed up, and makes me worried that when he goes to 75, he may not be in the best shape in the world. He may fight the guys like Beterbiev, Bivol, Morel, and get plastic and get beat up. Lord Zed says I quit drinking when I watch boxing because I want to remember the fights, and I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Life's too short. You don't want to drink because then you start forgetting things, and one day bleeds into the next, and you can't remember anything quite the same anymore. So, it's a good idea. But shout out to everybody here, man. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. We're on the 83rd day in our 90 Days of Boxing live series. We will be the 90th day will be a week from today. So y'all got 7 more, and then we're gonna go ahead and pivot into some other things for the channel, but we'll still be going live consistently. It just won't be every single day, but you'll get lives every week. Multiple lives every week. But yeah, while I'm doing it every day, get your comments in. Smash that like button, super chat. And let me know, let me know where you what city you guys watch from, what state, what continent. Let me know all that, man, because I like to know how international we can get on these lives, man. You guys know where I'm at. I've been as far as recently. I've been as far as Arizona and Las Vegas. Now I'm back in the friendly confines of South Florida, where the grass is green and the girls are prettiest. He says, "I never forget a fight night. I don't drink crazy, but I handle it when I do." I hear you, bro, but everybody has limits. I don't drink like that, so it won't take too much for me to get wasted. If I drink, it'll be bad. It'll get treacherous. LOI says that he's watching from the P. Diddy mansion. Well, listen. May God bless your rear end. If that's where you're watching from, may God protect your rear end. Staniatis says Staniatis was interviewed on a PBC podcast, and he said Crawford would never fight him again. Do you agree? Would never fight him. Yeah, I do agree with him, but I don't think it's for the reasons that he's saying it. I think he's probably saying it because he's saying Terrence Crawford's ducking him. I just think Terrence Crawford wants to cash out, and he don't give a damn who it's against. Whatever fighter is going to present Terrence Crawford a high 8-figure payday, that's what he wants to do because he's graduated into another pay grade. So whoever it is, that's what it's going to be. Falling Stone wants to know, did Angelo show the skills you advertise, BT, or is there still more to show? I definitely think there's a whole lot more to show, honestly. It was a good, like, it's, that fight is, the Baez fight is weird because Baez, like I said in the beginning of the live, if you look at Baez's record, he's fought like a lot of names, like Arnold Kagai, lost by a split decision, close fight. Rai Salim, lost by majority decision, close fight. Beat Enrique Vivas, won by majority decision, close fight. Got stopped by Navarrete in 6 rounds, was up on 2 of the 3 judges' scorecards. So with that being said, Baez gives everyone hell. Angelo beats him easily, but I'm left just a little unsatisfied because I feel like, yeah, he could be better. Because I know we all know how good he is in the gym and in camp, and there were some things that I thought he got away from in his game plan. But listen, anytime you can win a fight against a guy like Baez who gives everyone hell, like in a clear fashion, like there's no robbery, there's no controversy, then it's a good night. It's a good night at the office. But I think there's another level he can get to, and I think when he fights a guy like Venado Lopez and he's locked all the way in and he's doing even more in camp, you know, to be his best, then you know, I think that's when it'll all come out and you'll see. But look, good win, 24-1. You know, 3 fights in 5 months, the most active fighter in boxing. Name me someone else doing it like him. I can't name one. And that's not even a biased statement. I'm asking, like, if I'm wrong, name me a guy who is a former world champion or a champion who's fought 3 times in 5 months. I mean, for Christ's sakes, I was here on YouTube when Canelo fought 3 times in 1 year or 11 months, and people lost their shit. They said, "Oh my God, 3 times in 11 months, this is unprecedented." Okay, so 3 times in 11 months is unprecedented, then what the hell is 3 times in 5 months? What's that? That's got to be like otherworldly. That's got to be like some 1920 shit. That's got to be like in the 80s. He says, I don't think Delorme is a very durable guy, but he did have a good fight against Stanionis. I can't believe Delorme got knocked down by Ugas, but couldn't be knocked down by Stan. Yeah, it's boxing, man. Boxing, you can't always do math in boxing because the math don't always be mathing out. Shout out to James Valdez. Good to see you, champ. San Antonio, stand up. You gotta be extra clean when boxing if you really want to be somebody. Yes. To be a top class, upper echelon, creme de la creme fighter in boxing, you have to not even be human. And by that, what I mean is, like, you can't even enjoy holidays like other people. You gotta sacrifice food. You can't be out here piping down every last pretty girl you see on in the streets or, you know, anywhere out in the world. You gotta really be disciplined because you need every last ounce of energy. You need every last fiber of your being to be the best version of yourself in the ring, to give yourself the best chance to become champion and achieve bigger and greater things. Not just as far as the glory, not just as far as the titles, but also as far as, you know, making that money for your family to provide so that you can be a blessing to others. You know, that's really when you really get past the glory and the wins and all that stuff, that's really what boxing is about. That's what life's about. It's not about your own success. It's about blessing others. You use your success and your place in the world to bless others, and that's what the great fighters are doing, and the great people in life are doing. So, have you learned anything about management prospect by this Angelo Leo fight, BT? Have I learned anything? I've learned that, well, what have I learned? Honestly, I've just learned that Mexicans are very, very tough. I relearned that, because Baez is tough, man. But no, I didn't learn anything new that I didn't already know. I feel like, you know, I'll tell you what I learned. I'll tell you what I learned. I've learned that there's levels as far as work ethic in boxing, like as far as camps, because when you're a fighter who's been to the mountaintop like an Angelo Leo and you're trying to get back to the mountaintop, you know what the intensity of a world championship training camp is like. I think this camp that he had for Baez, from what I've seen and from what I know, it was a very good camp. He was strong, he was sharp, he was a very good version of himself. But I still think like there's another level of intensity that he's gonna have to get to, and I think so. BT, are you considered a boxing advisor analyst for Angel Leo? No, I'm not I wouldn't put a title on anything. I'm just his friend, and I don't have a title on anything. I just, when it comes to Angelo, him and his dad, they had me around, and we talk boxing. And if they don't know a fighter, or if they don't know something, they ask me, and they lean on me to give my input, and maybe give them a different look. And so, I do help them, as far as maybe not. I don't. Miguel Leo is a great trainer. He's one of the best trainers in boxing. He don't need my help, but sometimes an extra set of eyes can help you fine tune some things in a game plan. So, I'm just there. I'm just there to be an extra set of eyes as far as the boxing goes. As far as breaking a fighter down. But I don't have a title. We're just friends, and he inspires me to be better by how hard he works, trying to become champion again. And I know I inspire him because he sees me going live every single day. So we feed off each other, and I think it's working. I think it's going to I think it's panning out very, very well. And I'm dominating the boxing content side of things, and he's doing his thing in the ring. So it's beautiful, and we all know what fight we want. We want to beat Venado, and God willing, if it's truly part of the Lord's will. I know people will say he has no chance, and that's okay. But if God ever lets Angelo become the champion again, and the monster comes up, then I know he would love the opportunity to fight. So it could be a good thing or bad thing. That's what makes Stylianos Maestre interesting in a sense. Maestre versus Stylianos is a very good fight. It's an exciting. It's probably, to me, of all the fights on that Canelo undercard, it's the most interesting fight because Maestre is an Olympian. Maestre's had a bit of an up and down career, because I thought he got a gift against Michael Fox. But apart from that, it's been pretty much smooth sailing. He's been beating the brakes off of a lot of fighters. They try to put Trayvon Marshall in there with him. He beat the shit out of Trayvon Marshall, exposed him. Stylianos, we haven't seen him in a long time because Virgil Ortiz kept getting sick and injured. But we all know that outside the champions, he's probably one of the top guys out there, as far as contenders go. So it's a good fight. Buenos noches to you, Throw Puncher. Good to see you, champ. Thank you for stopping by. Do you consider Venado Lopez a guy with power? I don't think so. I consider Venado Lopez a guy with not like, he doesn't have like that one hitter quitter, but he's got methodical power. So if you're asking does he got world class power like that? No. But what makes Venado Lopez such an effective fighter is his athletic ability, his athleticism, and his legs. I would say those two things make him really good, make him effective. You said Lopez was the weakest champion at the weight if Leo loses. I said Venado or Ray Vargas. I think Ray Vargas gives him a run for his money. But look, if Angelo loses, he loses. It is what it is, man. He'll still be champion at some point, so it don't matter if it's gonna be now or later. He's winning. He's gonna win a featherweight title. But I think he'll beat Venado. It's a good fight. I mean, look, you gotta look, and I'm not disrespecting Venado. I respect his skills. For Venado to be, because I think Venado had about what he had, like three amateur fights. He had about he didn't have no amateur career, so he had to learn on the job. He had to do. I respect fighters. I respect fighters that are like him because he had to learn on the job. He took some tough losses early in his career in tough fights against guys like Ruben Villa and Abraham Montoya, and to his credit, he has developed. He has gotten better. I just think when you look at the other champions in the weight class, so you got Rafael Espinoza. Personally, I think Rafael Espinoza I like Rafael Espinoza as a fighter better than I like Venado. I think Rafael Espinoza has a better gas tank. I think he's got a better jab. I think if they fought, he would beat Venado, honestly. I'm not saying that he would blow him out or anything, but I think it'd be a good fight. I like Espinoza. Raymond Ford. I've had a lot to say about Raymond Ford, right? Raymond Ford showed me a lot in that Komatov fight. He showed me that he does have the dog, and I think he's a huge guy. He's a huge, fighter for the weight class. I think I like him more than Venado, I'll say Venado, I was probably being a little harsh when I said he was the weakest. I'll say he's third. I would say he's third. You could argue second between him and Ford, but Ray Vargas is the weak link. I think Ray Vargas, especially after the Nick Ball fight, he's kind of separated himself as the weakest champion in the division. But right now, this division is sorting itself out. There really is no clear-cut guy at featherweight right now. We got one guy each with a title. Nobody's unified. So you got to go ahead and we got to see who's who. Now, Khaled's out here talking about, he's making jokes. He's saying Venado will stop my boy. We can bet whatever you want on that. That ain't happening, champ. That definitely ain't happening. That's definitely not happening. Straight up. I can't believe he managed to beat Venado. Montoya, yeah, again, fighters develop. So like I always say, fighters are entitled to progress and regress. Venado clearly wasn't as good back then as he is now, and he's developed over time. But yeah, in retrospect, when you watch the version of Montoya that fought Mark Castro, and then you look at Venado now, like how he's beating these guys up, it's kind of hard to fathom. But listen, featherweight's going to be very interesting. You still got Stephen Foreign in the division. You got Hayato Tsutsumi doing his thing. You got Shushu. You got Robeisy Ramirez. You got the guys like Luis Nunez and Victor Morales. You got Hobie Price. You got Dominique Francis, who just got a win recently. He's 15-0 now. So there's so much more than just what I'm even talking about with Angelo Leo. But the division is getting hot, and it's getting hot quickly. Venado has those wins over Warrington and Conlon. He definitely showed me something in both of those fights. I can't wait to see Angelo and him go at it. It's one hell of a fight. It is. It's a great fight. May the best man win. I just hope it gets made. I think Team Venado wants to fight. I think that his manager wants to make the fight. But look, sometimes a lot can happen between now and when a contract is signed. So we'll see if when push comes to shove, if the fight actually winds up happening. But look, I'm very optimistic. You got Brandon Figueroa as well, another one in the division. So James Valdez says that Boots versus Ben fight. How does that play out? How do you think it plays out? I mean, I think we all know how it plays out. Ben just fought one of Boots' sparring partners, who's a good friend of mine, my guy, Pistol Pete Dobson. Like him. Pete's good. Pete wasn't in the best shape for that fight, but he did what he could, and kind of exposed some things in Conor Ben. And honestly, that fight was a lot closer than people realized. I went back and I watched it. I thought it was very, very close. That being said, I think Jaron Ennis would stop Conor Ben within 7 rounds. I don't think that fight's going to see the 8th round. Conor Ben has extreme holes in his defense. He showed in the Pete Dobson fight that he is susceptible to a good counter puncher, and I think Boots would do him dirty, very dirty, honestly. Ben also, he's gotten a little looser over the years, but he still has a bit of stiffness when he comes to as far as his posture. So I feel like a lot of times Ben, he winds up wasting a lot of nervous energy just because he's so damn stiff. So I think every last flaw that Boots or that Ben brings into that boxing ring, Boots is gonna solve it quickly and swiftly, and it'll go out it'll end in devastating fashion. Funny enough, I asked Conor Ben 3 years ago. I said Conor, this is back in 2021. This was he was at City Athletic Boxing Gym, which, by the way, R.I.P. the City Athletic Boxing Gym. They tore it down, don't exist no more. But back at City Athletic, he was there with Tony Sims because Martin Ward was fighting somebody on the Devin Haney undercard. And I asked him back then, I said, Conor, what do you think about a future fight with Jaron Ennis? And he immediately made sure that he said, nah, that's one for the future. So that was 3 years ago. It's the future. Boots is an Eddie Hearn fighter now. The time is now to make that fight. And I think that's the fight they're going to make, because if Eddie Hearn ain't careful and you match Conor Ben up, if Kevin Rooney, Eddie Hearn, if they're not careful, Ben is gonna get beat by somebody and not even make money off of it. Like they won't even profit off of it. So yeah, man. By the way, guys. By the way, everyone, please go show love to my brother, my main man. You know, Sean Tatel. He says we late, but we ain't here, champ. Yeah, man. Good to see you, Sean. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Sean Tatel, man. He's doing a great job on this channel. He just started it. He just started, like, he had this channel years ago. It was sitting at like 800 something subscribers. It's been only 2 or 3 days, already at almost 2,000. So he's doing this thing, and I want everybody to go support him, because not only is Sean Tatel a good friend of mine, but fuck him being my friend. Sean Tatel is great for boxing, and you guys need to go ahead and you guys need to show him support. And as of a couple days ago, when he started his channel, that was the beginning of the True School Zatel True School era. It's you guys didn't even realize that we're in the beginning of a new era of content creation. So make sure you guys go support him. Hyro says, you're wearing designer clothes now. Did BT become Don King? By the way, that PBC card is better than Golden Boy. You actually have contenders on that card. Well, look, Hyro, don't be fooled. People think I'm spending all this crazy money. This is a $250 jacket. I got it for $18 at an outlet store. So I ain't doing all that, champ. I ain't spending money like you think. You know, we're smart over here. But as far as the PBC card being better than the Golden Boy card, I mean, look, man. They're both, I think, pedestrian cards. I will give the PBC card the slight edge just because I like the Gabriel Maestre Stanionis fight. Stanionis is a very fun fighter to watch. Maestre has heavy hands. He has that punching power. Maestre has that punching power of communism in his hands. He punches with the pain of communism. That's why when he fought Trayvon Marshall, they thought Trayvon Marshall was the next big thing, and Gabriel Maestre said, no, he ain't. Sit your little ass down, and he handed him he took his O. So I like that fight. Two heavy-handed guys, good welterweight fight, you know. Shout out to my guy John. He said he's in the building. Yeah, man. What happened to Colbert tonight on Team Combat League? Chris Colbert? Is Chris Colbert on Team Combat League? I don't know. You could tell me. I haven't had a chance to follow too much of the Team Combat League. The only team in Team Combat League that I'm really paying attention to is the Miami Assassins. That's the only team I care about is the South Florida team, because, you know, season 1 they didn't have Miami Assassins. They didn't have a South Florida team. Now they got a South Florida team. They've only had one match so far. They fought the Las Vegas Hustle, and Miami Assassins beat the Las Vegas Hustle. The Las Vegas Hustle. They're 1-0. They're 1-0. They got 3 knockouts on the card, and I'm hoping they have an event here soon, because I want to cover it. I want to cover the Miami Assassins. I want to cover my guy Daniel Bailey and Harold Calderon and all the Sense Boy, the African fighter. You know, because I like the fact that now we got a team, so now I can be a little bit more invested in it this time than I was when they had it last season. Sean says BT is great for boxing. He is my hero. Haha. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Likewise, I concur. I'm with you. The love is mutual. The feeling is mutual. It seems that ever since Sean Tatel left this contract with Fight Hype Promotions, there will be no politics of BT now. This is YouTube box. This is YouTube boxing, like real boxing politics. Listen, man, I can't comment on that. All I can say is there's more there's great content on the way, and that's all I'll say. Shout out to my guy Rafael Cabo. It says, Brendan, calm down when we were talking about Vegas teams, all right? Nah, man. I'm still salty that the Panthers got their ass whooped by the Vegas Knights in the Stanley Cup. So Miami Assassins beat the Las Vegas Hustle. So I gotta get excited about something. But yeah, man. Look, guys. I don't wanna keep going on. You know, if y'all got any, I'll go for like 5 minutes and fill it out. If we're still getting good responses for 5 minutes, then we'll just go 90 minutes. We'll make it an even 90 minutes. But if we don't get no good responses these next 5 minutes, we'll end it here soon. But yeah, man, it's good to be home, man. The saying is really true. Like, you can go all over the world, and I feel like these last couple months I've been all over the world. I've been to LA, Vegas, Arizona, upstate New York, Tampa, everywhere it seems like. But there really is nowhere like home. Straight up, there's nowhere like being in the friendly confines of South Florida. Did you watch the Masters? Like golf? Like that? Like Masters golf, or like the Masters like the old guys that box and the amateurs? Like which ones? Cause either way I didn't watch it, but uh Trayvon Marshall did train with the Gary. Yeah, he did train with the Russell family. You're right. And as far as my Johnny Boy says, I loved your content at the Boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah, man. And look, I wish I knew what I was doing in June already, so I could plan. I want to go to Hall of Fame weekend because I had such a great time at the Hall of Fame, and I was in a rush. I was kind of in a rush because the fight was that day and whatnot. But I had a great time that day. I want to go back in the summertime when the whole boxing world descends upon upstate New York and Canastota. But I don't know where I don't even know if I'll be in America at that time. I might be somewhere else. So it's like, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? We just try to take it one day at a time here on True School Sports, because if not, go crazy. Nobody wants the Nobody 92 wants to know, why does Teofimo Lopez rep Brooklyn over South Florida? You're really gonna get me going here. You know you're opening up a big can of worms here, and I don't want to say mean things about Tio. But funny enough, before I answer your question, he's fighting. He's literally fighting his next fight here in South Florida against Steve Claggett. It'll be June 29th. Steve Claggett, he's fighting somewhere here in South Florida. They haven't announced the venue yet, but I would anticipate it would be probably in the same venue where Espinoza and Robesi took place. But the reason he doesn't rep South Florida or Brooklyn, and I'm gonna give you what he told me. Okay, I'm gonna give you what Teofimo told me, and then I'm gonna give you what I think. Okay, so when I interviewed Teofimo Lopez in 2021 at the now defunct City Athletic Boxing Gym, I asked him that question. I said, could you tell people about your background in South Florida, because they think you're from New York? And he said in the interview that the reason why he reps New York over South Florida is because Top Rank told him that it was more marketable and whatnot. And that's why he did it, and people don't know that part. And then he also kind of went off and said that people in Florida they hate on him and they don't appreciate him and this, that, and the third, right? That was his reason. The reason I think that is just because, I don't know, man. I just think, I don't know. I think he's a confused individual. I feel like, and this is my frustration with Teofimo Lopez as somebody who loves South Florida and knows that the talent that's here, and knows that I know a lot of kids here that look up to him, that were fighters. It really does. There's a big part of my soul. It bugs me that Teofimo Lopez didn't take that mantle of embracing being from South Florida, because I feel like he had the personality and the charisma to really do a lot for boxing here. And he didn't take it, and now he's like in a state. I mean, he can still do something, but I'm saying if he would have did it from the beginning, it would have had a bigger impact. Teofimo Lopez is not from New York. I mean, like as far as a boxer, he was born there. He moved here when he was very young. He learned to box at the Davy Powell. He grew up going to fights here in South Florida. One of the first fights Teofimo Lopez ever went to was Andre Berto versus Juan Urango. One of the first boxing matches Teofimo Lopez ever attended was Andre Berto versus Juan Urango at the Hard Rock Casino. That was one of the first fights he went to. Even Devin Haney knows he's from here. Like, he went off on me for saying he was from New York. So, yeah, I mean, does he have New York roots? Sure. Is his dad from New York? Yeah. Did he probably spend some time in New York? Yeah. But as far as Teofimo the boxer, Teofimo the fighter, the style that he has, everything that he learned was in South Florida at the Davy Powell with not just his dad, but a guy named Peter Balkunis. If you want to go look up who Peter Balkunis is, go on Google, type in Teofimo Lopez, type in Peter Balkunis. That's Balkunis, Balcunas, Peter Balkunis, and you'll start learning about Teofimo Lopez and his real roots as a fighter. And once you start really doing your history, then you will see why I get a little frustrated. But yeah. Still got other fighters here. Hyro said not to kiss PBC's ass, but it seems that Top Rank and PBC are setting up the future by signing guys with when their kids are not overpaying established fighters like Eddie Hearns. I mean, Eddie Hearn just got Jerron Edison. That's a pretty damn good signing. You know, but I respect your I respect you, Hyrod. That's a point that I made to you in the past about Top Rank and what they've been doing. So it's funny to see make that point here. James wants to know who is the best dad boxer team, past and present. So I'll give you two. I'll give you 2 and 2 for each. For the past, let me see the past. I'll go with Joe Calzaghe and Enzo Calzaghe, as well as let's see, Joe Calzaghe, Joe Calzaghe, Enzo Calzaghe is one that I really like because Enzo Calzaghe shatters all the narratives about you got to be all this and all, you know, as far as being a fighter to be a great trainer. This dude was a jazz musician and trained 4 or 5 world champions. You know, produced 4 or 5 world champions. Okay, so he blows that up right away. So that's why I like them. Who else is there? I'm trying to think of father and son. I'll go Joe Calzaghe and Enzo Calzaghe. I'll go Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather and Floyd Sr. and / Floyd Mayweather and Roger. So those will be my 2 from the past. And my 2 from the present will be Naya Inoue and Shingo Inoue and Angelo Leo and Miguel Leo. Those will be my 2 right there. My 2 now, my two from back then. Those are my 2 favorites. And then you can throw in Lomachenko and Anatolian Vasil is another one. I mean, there's so many of them. Teofimo Sr. and Teofimo Jr., you know. So is Tio faking the funk? I'm not saying, look, I know he spent some time when he was a kid in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, New York, but from everything I know, and I know quite a lot, as a kid, and I'll tell you guys this, I remember it clear as day. I remember as early as 2016, 2017, I used to go to amateur tournaments here in South Florida. I'll even tell you a story. I remember one time in 2016. In 2016, I went to an amateur show here in South Florida in Fort Lauderdale at this hotel called the Hyatt. The Hyatt Regency Pier 66 Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. Google it if you want. And they do amateur shows there sometimes. And so I had a friend named Josh. Shout out to my boy Joshua Rodriguez. You know, he used to train at Canino's boxing gym. Him, my boy Alex. You know, he had an amateur fight that day, so I went to that show. This is 2016. And guess what? When I was at that show, guess who was there? Teofimo Lopez. And guess what? Florida Golden Gloves, other amateur shows. 2016, 2017, 2015, I used to see Teofimo Lopez all the time. When I started training, when I started boxing in 2015, I sparred a fighter named Gabriel Chacon. RIP to my guy Gabriel Chacon. He passed away in 2022. He died swimming. But while I was sparring Gabriel Chacon, he was getting ready to fight in the Florida Golden Gloves. Who did he fight in the Florida Golden Gloves? Teofimo Lopez. So the South Florida roots run deep. And that's why I do get a little frustrated that Top Rank and T.O., they just never really embraced it because they thought that by being a New York fighter, he'd be a bigger fighter. And guess what? He never really sold out in like New York like that. Like he wasn't like Teofimo Lopez doesn't move the needle in New York. He never he's not really like selling out the big room at the Garden like that. So they thought they were smart, but they weren't. You know, and that's the truth. BT, would you let your kids box? 1000%. My kids, when God willing, one day when I meet a woman worthy of having my kid, or a woman that starts to act right, that becomes worthy of having my kid, for sure, I would definitely let my kids box because I feel like it's important for a man to go in the ring, and I feel like boxing is great for character building, and it gives you a sense of humbleness and humility. And yeah. Now, as far as would I let my kid become a professional fighter, that would be, I don't know. I'd probably fight. I would try to steer him away from that because I know how wicked this boxing game is and how hard it is to make it. And you gotta really have a deep and profound love for it. But I would never. When I do have a kid, I'm not gonna ever discourage their dreams. I'll probably be a lot like my dad as far as how I raise my kids. Cause my dad did a great job raising me. You know, he let me be and choose what I wanted to do in life, and he didn't try to like manipulate me to be someone I wasn't. You know, and over time it's paid off. And look, we're here now, the best, one of the best, I think. You know, best boxing channel in the world. So when BT meets his Sonora print, that's right. You know, a couple more trips to Arizona should do the job, and we'll probably have a kid. I'm not even playing with you. If I go to Arizona about 2 or 3 more times, I might fuck around and have a kid. BT, when you get time, you need to watch Ezubio Pedroza. You go on about Santa being the best fighter, but he did not fight the best guy in his division. All right, Harold, I'll watch him with you. We'll learn. James wants to know who is the best promoter presently. Gary Jonas, Pro Box. Gary Jonas. The fine folks at Pro Box are the best promoters. Why? Because they have good fighters and great fights. And they don't promote boxers. They promote boxing. So they're not as agenda-driven as the other promoters. You know, do they have some agendas? Yeah, but not quite the agendas that a Top Rank or a PBC or Golden Boy match will have. So I enjoyed them. But if you're asking me to pick a promoter from the big four, like PBC, Matchroom, Golden Boy, I will probably go with, I don't know, man. It's hard. Because I have things I love and hate about all of them. I'm just going to say nobody right now. Pro Box is number one. Pro Box doing their thing. The other promoters got to get it together. Which current fighters have potential to fight at New York Yankee Stadium one day? Tank versus Shakur is a potential fight to happen there. Falling Star, I don't think there's any fighter right now in America that could fight at Yankee Stadium. Because number one, first and foremost, in America, to have fights in New York City is gonna cost money, because in New York you have very high taxes as opposed to like somewhere like Florida or Texas where there's no state tax. So fighters and promoters can keep more of their money, right? So that's why fights don't go there as much anymore. And on top of that, there's a special TV tax. There's an extra tax for just having fights on TV in New York City. So that's why a lot of fights don't go there. So in order for a fight to go to Yankee Stadium, it has to be astronomically huge. Big. Like, I'm talking about, it's going to have to be a fight that's going to do, you know, huge gate, pay-per-view, probably back end. And right now, I can't think of a fight that's kind of in America that would turn over that kind of profit. I mean, I think if we had an American heavyweight, like if we had an American heavyweight that was really moving the needle, then I would say that against like Joshua or something like that. But we don't have an American heavyweight that moves the needle. We have Jed Anderson. So I don't know. I can't answer that question right now. I don't think there's any fights right now that could do that. Maybe like Terrence Crawford like versus Canelo, maybe something like that. It has to be like a fight like that. When was the last fight at Yankee Stadium? I'm going to say it was, Cotto versus Yuri, the Rabbi Foreman. So a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of Jews. A lot of Puerto Ricans and a lot of Jews in them seats that night. What is the top boxing podcast? The Untouchable True School Sports Empire, anytime he's live. Sean Tell. And outside of those two, who do I like right now? Who am I even listening to like that? I haven't even had time to The Boxing Voice. I'll go with The Boxing Voice. Because that's really the only channel I listen to apart from me and Sean, like on a regular basis. Miracle Boy Boxing. Miracle Boy Boxing. We'll go Miracle Boy Boxing, and we'll go with The Boxing Voice. Those are the two that I listen to outside of myself and Sean. JK says, sup BT, just tuned in to say keep up the grind. Peace. Gotta go. God bless you, JK. Good to see you. And my boy John out there in upstate New York, he says, BT, do you think Ryan is going to come out again doing that bootleg swap meet shoulder roll versus Haney? I would hope not. I would sincerely hope not. I don't know what he's going to do, but I think he's going to get, there's going to be a gap in class in that fight at some point. And I do think that Ryan is going to do some real dumb shit, like hit him in the nuts, elbow him, do something, and he's going to get disqualified. So my prediction is Devin Haney wins by disqualification. Boxing Boys gave you nice props today. That was dope. Yeah, man. Shout out to the brother Ness, man. Ness, I gotta give Ness his flowers, man. Ness is one of them guys, like, um, he's consistent. He loves the sport. He's put his life into it. He's put in even more years than me. And there's not many people that on YouTube that have put in more years than me. But he's put in more years than me. I remember just being a guy without a channel watching Ness. So it's an honor that guys like that asked me on their show, and I was happy to do it. And God bless them. God bless the Boxing Voice, and may they continue to have more success. Shout out to my guy Ringwalk Danny, who I've grown pretty cool with. You know, he's a great guy to talk to. So yeah, love the Boxing Boys. What is the top 5 best boxing cities in America? When you ask that question, do you mean as far as like to attend a fight, like as far as going to a fight, or are you saying as far as talent produced? Give me like more specifics, and I'll answer the question. Who do you got, True School? Better be a Bivol. Better be for sure. But Bivol's a great fighter. I love Bivol. BT, where can I see some good brown sugar? What? Where can I see some good brown sugar, man? Mexican women are. Now you crazy. You ain't been to Arizona. That's why. You ain't been to Arizona. Detroit. Go to Detroit or Chicago or anywhere in the Midwest. You'll find nice black girls. Nobody 92 wants to know. He says talent produced. Okay, so as far as talent produced, in America, we'll go with definitely Philadelphia, Detroit, Philadelphia, Detroit. I'll go with like I don't know if I want to say Dallas, but just Texas in general. LA, like Southern California area. DC. And then honorable mention, we'll go with South Florida, because South Florida does have a lot of talent. Because remember, before there was Teofimo Lopez, we had Randall Bailey, and we had Glenn Johnson. We had champions, you know. And where did Muhammad Ali train? South Florida. Where did Alex Arguello train and fight? South Florida. Where did Roberto Duran fight like 15 times and train? South Florida. So we'll go with South Florida as well. But yeah, no, them 5 cities have Detroit, Philly, Southern California, Texas. He mentioned Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. See, there's so many, man. Like Ohio, of course. Ohio has great fighters. Chicago's had great fighters too. I mean, there's a lot of great talent, man. I don't even want to do all that like top 5. There's a lot of great fighters everywhere. But I would say Vegas. Vegas, of course, has had fantastic fighters. Ishii Smith, Rolly, Jesse Vargas, all Vegas born and bred world champions, you know. There's too many Mexican women with BBLs in Arizona. You ain't lying, champ. There is, but I know quite a few that don't have BBLs that are the salt of the earth, and I can't wait to go back. You know what I'm saying? By the way, rest in peace, Gary Shaw, man. I never met Gary Shaw, but I'll tell you guys a story, and the video is still on the channel if you want to check it out for yourself. I interviewed Leon Margulies from Warriors Boxing, the lawyer, like 7 or 8 years ago. And Leon Margulies looks like Gary Shaw to me. So I remember at the time, I didn't know who the hell Leon Margulies was. So I remember I did the interview. I was like, hey, man, Brandon Taylor here, True School Sports. I'm with Gary Shaw. And he's like, he was telling me before I started the interview that he was not Gary Shaw. But in my mind, I'm like, nah, he's Gary Shaw. So I did the interview, and I'm like, I'm here with Gary Shaw. And he's like, I'm not Gary Shaw. You got the wrong guy, man, the wrong promoter. And then I turned the camera off. So I never met Gary Shaw, but that was the closest to Gary Shaw I ever got, was calling Leon Margulies Gary Shaw, because he looked like Gary Shaw to me. Looked just like the guy. But guys, look, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. You know, we're about to hit the hour and a half mark. So look, it's been a pleasure. We'll stop by tomorrow for day 84. And it'll be a more concentrated, more organized live. But I really have been enjoying these, and you know, this is the last week, so thank you guys that have been tuning in and smashing the like button and super chatting. Before I end the live, go check out all the content that I dropped. You know, interviews, Angelo Leo stuff, all that stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.